Greetings and welcome to the Seattle Law of One podcast. Today's episode is about intervention. In a 2003 channeling session, the entity known as Quo was asked if there were any circumstances in which the Confederation of Planets would consider abridging free will and intervening to prevent humanity from destroying itself or the planet through nuclear war, ecological degradation, or other means of self-destruction. Quo's response was filled with gems of love, wisdom, and compassion, especially inspiring and encouraging in these turbulent times 23 years later. What did they say? Let's find out. My name is Jonathan Tong, and I'm a facilitator for the Seattle Law of One study group. We can be found on the list of study groups, the LNL research website shown on your screen. We do also have a Facebook group, and we meet on Zoom twice a week, Tuesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, Saturdays 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific Time. You don't have to live in Seattle or anywhere near Seattle to join our Facebook group or Zoom sessions. Anyone who's interested and available is welcome to join. Just contact us at seattlelog1@gmail.com to get on our mailing list. We send out emails once a week with Zoom links and information on what we'll be talking about that week. We do also have a YouTube channel where we keep recordings of our previous podcast episodes, as well as recordings of Q&As with Jim McCarty, Austin Bridges, Gary Bean, and Tricia Bean from the Illinois Research Channeling team. Just go to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button and ring that bell to get notifications when we upload new videos, and contact us at seattlelog1@gmail.com if you'd like to sit in on any of our Q&A sessions. As mentioned, today's topic is about intervention. Let's go ahead and meet our panelists. Panelists, let our viewers know who you are and where you're calling from, starting with Renat.
Hello, my name is Renat. I'm very excited to be here. I just noticed we all have blue in our frames. I don't know what that means. I'm calling from Israel. Yeah.
So great to have you here. Renat, your audio was just a little bit in and out there, but knowing that you are calling us from a literal war zone, we're going to adapt to that, and so thankful for you to be here. Andy, you want to introduce?
Hi, I'm Andy. I'm calling from Cornwall in southwest England, and thanks for having me here. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks for being back. Always fun to hang out with you. And James?
Hi, my name is James, calling in from Longmont, Colorado, about 15 miles from Boulder, and grateful to be here. Very excited about today's topic.
Super grateful to have you on for the first time, and hopefully, presumably, not the last time. Did want to remind our viewers, as always, that none of us here are experts or authorities on the law of one. We're just normal people like you hanging out and looking for some words of hope and inspiration in these seemingly apocalyptic times. Anything that any of us say could be wrong. You're welcome to disagree with anything or everything that any of us say. If you are already familiar with the law of one and the entity known as Quo, you might want to skip ahead to the chapter on group question. Otherwise, for those who are new to the law of one, you can think of it as a set of spiritual teachings based on the understanding that all is one, and that one thing is love. All of the reading passages we're looking at today came to us through the process known as channeling. You can think of channeling as a form of telepathic communication between humans and entities such as angelic beings, extraterrestrial beings, inner planes beings, spirits of deceased, higher self, etc. A channel basically serves as a mouthpiece for other entities to speak through, and in this case, those entities would appear to be of extraterrestrial origin. There are two types of channeling that have been developed by your friends at LNL Research. Trance channeling is when the channel is in a trance state, meaning they're subconscious or unconscious as if asleep, meaning they are not at all aware of what words are coming out of their mouth as they're saying them. This is how contact was made with the entity known as Ra back in the early 1980s. Conscious channeling is when the channel is in a conscious but deep meditative state, meaning they're only somewhat aware of what words are coming out of their mouth as they're saying them. This is how contact was made with the entity known as Quo, starting in the mid-1980s up to present day. Who is Quo? You can think of Quo as a group entity made up of three social memory complexes: Ra at 6th density, Latwii at 5th density, Hatan at 4th density. You can think of the social memory complex as a planetary consciousness. It would be as if the entire human population of Earth was merged into one group mind. You can think of densities or dimensions as different levels of consciousness or different levels of reality, since those two things are so closely intertwined. Imagine, if you will, that the elements of earth, fire, water, and air have some form of consciousness, as many indigenous peoples have been saying for centuries. We refer to that as first density. You can think of second density as the level of consciousness of plants and animals. Clearly, a quantum leap in consciousness above and beyond that of what we would think of as inanimate matter. You can think of third density as the level of consciousness of humans and cetaceans like whales and dolphins. Again, a significant quantum leap above and beyond the consciousness of plants and other animals. You can think of fourth density as the level of consciousness of the social memory complex. Again, it would be as if the entire human population of Earth was merged into one group mind. Clearly, a quantum leap above and beyond the consciousness of one individual person. You can think of fifth and sixth densities as whatever would be comparable quantum leaps above and beyond fourth density. There is much more we could say on the subject, and if you're interested, check out our podcast episode on densities and dimensions. Otherwise, for now, suffice it to say, the entity known as Quo appears to be a group entity made up of three planetary consciousnesses: Ra at sixth density, Latui at fifth density, and Hatan at fourth density. First contact with Quo was made by the L&L Research Channeling Team in 1986, almost 2 years after the end of the Ra contact in 1984. They have been channeled every month since then, up to present day, by the L&L Research Channeling Team. You can find transcripts of all of those sessions at the L&L Research Conscious Channeling Library shown on your screen. Having said all that, it is worth noting that unlike almost every other Seattle Law of One podcast episode, all the passages we're looking at today came from one particular session, May 25th, 2003. It is one of my top 5 favorite sessions of all time. And if you want to look it up, just go to the L&L Research website shown on your screen, click on the Channeling tab up top, select Conscious Channeling Library from the drop-down menu, find 2003, click on that, and scroll down until you can reach May 25th, 2003. The group question, the question asked of Quo by the group was, and this has been edited for brevity, the group question was, are there any circumstances under which the Confederation of Planets would consider abridging free will and stepping in and cleaning up the air, cleaning up the water, destroying nuclear weapons, providing food and services for people that need it? And in the first part of their response, all the passages we're looking at today are about 80-90% of the whole session. In the interest of time, we've left out a few passages, and there's some real gems in there too. So I encourage you to go look up the whole thing and read the whole thing. It's well worth it. Otherwise, one of the first things they talked about was witnesses to the light. Near the beginning, Quo says, the question of intervention contains distortions along certain lines which you would like to explore. Your query had to do with what the situation might be within which we would find it possible or desirable to abrogate the free will of those entities upon your sphere, which are imposing these difficulties and distortions upon the hapless remainder of the body of population of humanity upon your planet. However, this query is a query which in its very nature asks that which cannot be answered, for it is not possible for each of you to remove from yourselves the privilege, the responsibility, the honor, and the duty of serving as witnesses to the light at this location, which you now enjoy at this time, and in this situation, which you now enjoy. Upon the level of the surface life, upon the level of your mass media, and the details of politics and policy, it is indeed clear that your sphere is controlled by the few for the sake of the few and to the detriment of many. Gazing at the Earth sphere from the stance of spiritual responsibility or maturity, there is another picture entirely. In this picture, no power is given away to any thought form or actual entity. Rather, each is in relationship with the power, the discipline, and the focus of the self. However, your environment is an environment in which the planetary venue was chosen and the ingredients of the life experience of each of you was chosen for an agenda which only peripherally involves the ways of politics, policy, and power. So many fascinating parts in here that we could unpack. I got to say, the first thing I find remarkable is the notation about the location which you now enjoy at this time and in this situation which you now enjoy, which only kind of reminds me of that scene from Dr. Evil and Austin Powers about how much we are enjoying this situation. Otherwise, I'm going to pass it to the panelists. What do you think, Renat? Any thoughts, reflections on anything here?
I was grabbed by the almost the one, two, three, the middle of the third paragraph. I hope my sound is going well. In each is in relationship with the power, the discipline, and the focus of the self. So, sorry, no, a line behind above. In this picture, no power is given away to any thought form or actual entity, which means that it comes back to us. It's haunting because we want to be saved, but it's also empowering because it is each of us. But it's not just. I don't think it starts and finishes with us because we have once we do the work, the inner work of self-empowering, we have the effect on others, either by energy, silence, words, whatever the other needs in order to wake up to their own power as well. So it's scary and exciting at the same time, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, as is often the case with so many of these passages, it's remarkable to me that 23 years ago, how accurate this was, that it is indeed clear that your sphere is controlled by the few for the sake of the few and to the detriment of the many. I guess it has been accurate for so long, but it seems especially accurate these days. So super fascinating. But I agree with your take on the rest of that paragraph, and I find that encouraging also. What do you think, Andy? Any thoughts on anything here?
Yeah, like if we relate it to like Earth being a school, it's kind of like asking the board of directors, like at what point will you come in and say, all right, everyone go home because this school is no longer sustainable. Like it would be and like things that we see as terrible, Crow seem to be, like approached with a sense of humor and say, oh, it's just a lesson. In fact, we find it really funny. And it's like, I think of it that way. It's like if they were to intervene, it would mean that we would miss the lesson. Like they can't come in and do our exams for us. They can't do the learning for us, I suppose.
Really well said. I had not thought of it that way, but I appreciate your framing it in terms of the school because, yeah, I think they would agree very much that they can't do that. It would be doing our learning for us, and that's a no-no. So, yeah, appreciate that. What do you think, James? Any thoughts on that or anything else?
Well, right off the bat, what you said, Andy, it reminds me of a part of the law of one, where Don is asking them some kind of question, and they say something to the effect, "Raw, we can't teach learn for you to the point of learn teaching for you." So that's something that came to mind for me. Another thing that really jumps out at me, is the emphasis on the word enjoy here. It actually parallels with the audiobook that I'm listening to right now. I'm listening to it for the second time, and it's this book called Existential Kink. And essentially, it's the premise that on a soul level, I'm experiencing things here that I am enjoying. My ego may not agree with it. My ego might be despising some of the things that are going on, but on the soul level, everything is a lesson. And so, from that perspective, I can sometimes get in touch with the parts of myself that though feeling the pain of society these times, the parts of me that are getting what I came here for on that pre-incarnative level. And also remembering that I came here to be of service. So I love here at the bottom what it says. However, your environment is an environment in which the planetary venue was chosen and the ingredient of the life experience of each of you were chosen for an agenda which only peripherally involves the ways of policies of politics, policy, and power.
Yeah,
And
what do you
so,
make out of that? I love that line too.
yeah, I make out of that the agenda here is not control, right? Like Ra also talks about control not being the way, and of course, what we control, we suppress.
Yeah.
Um, for me, the way is not control, and I think that those who are power hungry are interested not on service, but feeding their
Yeah.
egos.
Yeah, for sure. It has been said many times that control is central to the path of service to self, and acceptance is central to the path of service to others. So it certainly does seem like control is really a big part of those who are in charge of our political, economic power structures. But yeah, I like that last line too, because I think what I was getting from it is that you came here for spiritual growth and evolution, and that really doesn't necessarily have that much to do with politics in particular. If anything, like you're saying, it's really about being able to accept what seems to be unacceptable and to forgive those who seem unforgivable. That would seem to be a big part of it. Anybody else have any other thoughts on this passage? Anything else here that we haven't talked about yet?
I just want to do a little follow-up to what you said about the power, not having power. Those in power have no power, but they do have a role. It's like there's no light without darkness. So they help us become. Being in Israel for the last few years has made me stronger. It's been very dark, war after war after war, but now that I'm, I don't know, surface head above the water for 5 minutes at least, I can look back and say I'm stronger now than 3, 4 years ago, because as Andy likes to say, once you overcome fear, you are fearless.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I really wanted to have you on this podcast episode. And I actually wanted you on the Armageddon podcast episode that we did last week. But I believe logistical wise, scheduling wise, that just weren't able to get that to happen. So I appreciate your being here, and whether your audio goes in or not, and our viewers can hear everything. I think we're able to pick up the gist of what you're saying. And yeah, super important. Does anybody else have any other thoughts they wanted to add or follow up on? I think the only... Oh, go ahead, Andy.
I have a question. It's like, and this confuses me. Like they say, like it only peripherally involves the ways of politics, policy, and power. So how involved should we be in our communities? If the central thing for our incarnation is to work on ourselves, what should our approach be to the kind of oppression and injustices that are happening around us?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, and I think it really is up to each individual person. I think questions like that have been asked in previous sessions, and I mean, they have noted that many wanderers came here specifically to be in part of the political process, whether in elected office role or an activist role or otherwise. And other people, he said, yeah, paying attention to the news is not really part of their spiritual growth, and if anything, hindering their spiritual growth. So I think it is up to each person to decide for themselves how much they want to engage with that. I certainly vote, and I pay attention to current events, and I try to cast an informed vote. But other than that, I think I came to the realization a few years ago that, man, I just have no control over that political process, and it's so far out of my hands now, so far away from anything that I feel like I could do anything constructive to help. I've focused really more on the spiritual solutions and more on opening the green ray, which I think Ra has said probably is the best way to help if you want to help. I don't know. What do you think? James, Renat, any thoughts on that?
Well, yes. So this is an interesting topic for me because I also recall what Rob tells Carla. They do tell Carla that, how do you say it? The vivere de es, the essence of being is more what matters, at least in terms of her path. I particularly relate to that. I like to let my being inform my doing. So I know it's different for every individual, and I don't have the answer of what that looks like for each individually pre-incarnatively programmed soul. Um, I just know that that for me, if the being is in love, then the doing is in love.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. Beautifully said. Renat, anything to add?
Yeah, I think that my answer to Andy would be twofold. One, as you said, it's very individual. But the second part, from my experience here, just so the viewers know, I left many years ago. So I lived away from Israel. I left in my early 20s. I lived away in the US and Europe for 30 years. And then I came here 3.5 years ago, right into the chaos. And I was very ill prepared. I was really, um, and so I tried. So the second part of my answer would be try different things. So I did try different things. I went to protest, and I tried to volunteer, and I protests, for example, were really hard because the people on my side were saying such negative things out of fear and anxiety that I would go home feeling discouraged. So I tried to go to protest. I would try not to listen when things are being said out of anger or fear, and just realize that my job there is to just be light. Just stand here and send everyone around, 1,000, 2,000, 20,000 people, send them love. So I changed my role.
For
Uh,
clarification, Renat, which side were you on or are you on,
I'm a
and which
liberal.
protests were you?
I'm, again, it started when I came here. Just the current government was freshly elected, so there were protests against the government. But then there was protest against the war with Iran. So it kept changing. And for a long time, we were not allowed to protest because, no gathering was allowed. So the war was, how it goes. But I find it more effective to sit at home and open my heart and send everybody, the whole Middle East and this country, just love, and I realized that maybe I'm not really part of wave of hate and anxiety. I really don't get it, but it's their process, and I respect it, and I just shed light into it, hoping it reaches the right place. So,
Appreciate your being
you
there
know,
physically in space time as well as time space to hold that light there. It is a beautiful service to others that you're doing. Much appreciate that.
the service is to myself as well, because then I feel like, oh, I've done something. I'm not, I didn't come here to be a victim, to be so completely out of my depth.
Right.
There's a reason I came here. I was called to come here, so it gives me so much gratification to go both ways.
And we continue learning for sure. Let's go ahead and take a look at another passage. Let's take a look at a passage about digging for diamonds. Here, Quo says, in the outer sense, rather, each of you came here to dig a bit deeper within your particular bit of the Godhead principle, that which you have chosen to filter into incarnational existence within the carriage of the personality shell, welling up within the earthly home of your body, that structure that houses and carries you about. Each of you came here hoping to use the illusion's corrosive and harsh ways to thrash and pound and uncover the jewels of creatorship within the ore of self, within the rubble of bits and pieces of the shale of the details of the day and the gravel of what I do for a living. There lie great jewels within each, undiscovered facets of self, undiscovered crystalline formations, nuggets of insight, awareness, and realization. Many of these insights are very close to the surface and have been salted within the soil of your most available levels of subconscious mind by the self before incarnation, in order that each of you might have real fruit from the digging, real substance from the probing, and the examination of the thoughts of the self. Yeah, one of the reasons that this is one of my top 5 favorite sessions is I don't think I've heard them talk about this before in any other sessions, but this idea that pre-incarnated you like left incarnated you little Easter eggs to find along the way. I just find that just a really beautiful thing. It's like science fiction movies where a future self leaves little signs and guideposts for past self to find along the way. That is actually part of our reality. I just find a super cool, beautiful thing. What do you think,
Yeah.
James? Any thoughts on that?
There's a lot of interesting stuff for me to chew on here. For one, I know giving up ego is an important part of the path. It reminds me of a conversation you and I were having, Jonathan, about even the ego of Doctor Strange, right? And when I feel ego coming up in my experience, that is when I have to humble myself for sure. So I mean, yes, I do identify as a wanderer, and I do find great joy in that identity. And at the same time, it helps me to remember that whatever density we're from, including third density souls, that they're just as much of the part of the creator. I have this shamanic friend, San, who word sings very well. And she basically says that perhaps those of us from the higher densities, we're obviously no more the creator than the rest, but maybe it's more on our peripheral vision than the rest. Maybe it's the memory of being the creator is a little closer to the surface for us than those maybe of third density. And in that regard, I also I do like the aspect of uncovering the creator within me, and I do like to think that I'm on this earth plane taking one for the team, and that my social memory complex and I are striving towards seventh density. And I guess I'll see you at the end of the incarnation, though.
Indeed. You might have taken 2 for the team, my friend. What do you think, Renat?
Going back to the jewels, and let me quote directly, jewels of creatorship within the ore of self. So I see spirituality not as a goal, but as a means. And the basic means for all of us, I think, is to just feel better in our own skin. Even, before we come into the big realizations of who we are and what our mission is, etc., just feel better within our own skin. And then there's the various goals. For example, I'm an artist and a writer, and as I feel better within my own skin, before big realizations, I can see that my art is definitely achieving a wider horizon. I'm able to create things that I look at like, oh wow, who did that? So as before, when I was young, it was such a struggle. I had all those ideas in my head and I just couldn't verbalize them, couldn't make anything out of them. And only once I was deep into Buddhism, my art just took a leap forward.
Nice. Your art being photography and writing, correct?
Back then it was photography. The last 10 or so years, more, 20 years, it's art making. But I see it all as writing. I see it all as art making. It doesn't matter, tomorrow I'll do something else. Probably not, but yeah.
Yeah, I would think the idea of uncovering jewels of creatorship is a big part of the artistic process. I would think the insights and inspirations that come through are a big part of that. I know for me, just reading channeling sessions and discovering little gems of love and wisdom and compassion, for me, it is like finding diamonds in the dirt. It's really finding beautiful insights that, I really have not seen them in any other religions or spiritual teachings or philosophies that I've studied. And I've studied a lot in the last 40 plus years or so. So continues to be something that I enjoy studying and learning from. Anybody else have any other thoughts, reflections on this passage before we look at something else? Sounds good. Let's take a look at passage on tuning the energy body. Quoth says, when this work is done deliberately, consciously, and over a period of what you call time, the energetic body of an instrument of light begins to tune itself as one would the piano tuner tune the wire, tuning, tuning until the pitch is right for that wire. Each of you has a true pitch, and you are tuning that tone of self as you seek the way of the Creator within. As you dig with the trowel of who am I and the weeder of what am I doing here, you are preparing the ground and planting the seeds that blossom into the gifts that you came to share, the essence of self that blossoms into the committed and loving compassion of those dwelling within the illusion, but knowing that they are not trapped in the illusion. For you came here to be strong. You came here to offer the power that is yours in active and personal compassion that reaches out and embraces the planet and its peoples. Not because there was a wish to rescue them or to change them in any way, but because entities are there to love, just as the you are the object of the love that is all about you, not simply from those entities within the flesh that may express love in their halting words, but more from those entities which are unseen and whose presence uncovers in silence that state of unconditional love in which the self can finally feel safe, secure, and able to rest within that holy place that is the heart of self, the heart of the planet, the entity of self, the entity of the planet. Are these not one thing? Need we intervene to rescue your planet when there are millions of sparks of the Creator upon your planet which are capable of tuning themselves until they burst forth into the most beautiful and harmonious song of love that the world has ever felt? Such a beautiful visual. I like that visual of the piano tuner and tuning the wires in the piano until it's just the right tone, the right frequency. And I love the way that they relate that to each of us, tuning ourselves to find the Creator within, to find that song of love within. And that, yeah, do we need to rescue you when you've got everything you need already? You've got millions of sparks of the Creator just about there, ready to tune themselves to form the most beautiful song of love the world has ever felt. That is one of my favorite passages of all time, for sure. What do you think, James? Any thoughts on anything here?
So many powerful things. In fact, it actually reminds me the unseen. I'm very blessed to receive a lot of unseen help, and one of my primary ascended masters is Swami Sri Yukteswar, the guru of Paramahansa Yogananda. He visited me in a dream in the end of 2014, and I'm actually going to find a quote of what he said to Yogananda, because I think it so applies to the unseen help and their agenda for helping us. So I'll pass it along to the next person as I find that quote.
Yeah, we'll come back to you for it. Renat, anything wanted to add?
Yeah, I was taken by the, realize that you're not trapped here. So first of all, it's an illusion. The physical material world is an illusion. But also we chose to dive headfirst into this illusion. And it's such a freeing realization for me. Maybe not realization, because that would mean that 24/7 I know this is an illusion and I'm not trapped. And I do feel trapped sometimes. So not, the notion, the possibility that this is not a trap, that there are things to enjoy. It depends on our view point, the angle.
Andy, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, my favorite is the digging with the trowel of who am I and the weeder of what am I doing here, because I just love questions. I I love questions more than answers, and for me it's a sense of wonder. It's like, wow, what is this thing that is called, what's this character that is called Andy or Jonathan or James or Renat, and like, and how's it all come together, and what lies beneath, and what are the motivations, and for me it's like all these characteristics are like jewels inside a kaleidoscope that are constantly moving, and then, like, I think when I've been really deep into meditation with this question of am I, that and like really connect with the kind of no self, or I suppose what Ra refers to as the unmanifested self. um you know and you are just the observer and nothing else, and you discover that this I projection is just a combination of like thoughts and ideas, and it's like, wow, that's so cool. It's like living inside a kaleidoscope. As for what am I doing here, I sort of like, yeah, I don't really understand that. Is it like, when you walk into a room and you forgot what you walk in there for?
Yeah.
What am I doing
I
here?
incarnated on Earth and I
Yeah,
forgot what I came
exactly.
here for. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's basically it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, it reminds me what you were asking about before in terms of what are these jewels that we're digging for in the shale. And I think they're answering it here. As you dig deeper to find who am I, it's kind of like the Buddhist mantra of Om Mani Padme the jewel is in the lotus. As you peel back the layers and the petals, you discover the jewel inside that is, you are the one infinite creator. When you dig deep enough, you find out that you are the universe, you are the one infinite creator. And it's all the little jewels that you find on the way to discovering that is part of the joy of the journey, I think, as you're suggesting. James, did you find that passage you wanted to share with us?
I did. Thank you. So this is what Sri Yukteswar says when he visits Yogananda after his Mahasamadhi. Mahasamadhi is the intentional exit of the body, and he reappeared to him, and he said these words: "Grieve not for me. You and I shall smile together, so long as our two forms appear different in the Maya dream of God. Finally, we shall merge as one in the cosmic beloved. Our smile shall be his smile, our unified song of joy, vibrating throughout eternity, to be broadcast to God-tuned souls."
Nice. That's
And
beautiful. So, what's your take on that? How does that relate here?
my take on that is that the unseen help that they're helping us to realize that we are they are we, right? So by them helping me to remember the creator within myself, I can join that form of help too. And while it's definitely been beneficial for me, and I guess painfully enjoyable for me to be serving on the physical plane, I also find a lot of comfort that my unseen help is also helping me in such a way that I can join them in time space. And from time space, we can also broadcast to God tuned souls. So there are many ways to be of service. And it reminds me also, I think Ross says that many souls, including some in fifth density, share light with others, right? Like they don't have to be on the earth plane, but they can share the love and light. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I appreciate your sharing that. That was certainly a big revelation to me as well in my spiritual journey, realizing that, oh, wow, there are a lot of what some might call guardian angels, what others might call spirit guides or spirit helpers in whatever form there are. That, yeah, there are many, and that they want nothing more than to help us do what we came to this incarnation to do, to help us remember what we're doing here, what we came here for. That's just another beautiful, powerful gem to discover. Anybody else? Any thoughts on anything here? Anything else wanted to add?
I have a little story that relates to James's quote. There's an ancient eucalyptus tree in my neighborhood, 150 years, 200. It's so remarkable. And I visit and give it a good you can't hug it, it's huge. Just put my hands on it and ask for, you know, calm or guidance or something. And really, this, I call it the lady tree because it has this feminine energy. And lady tree sometimes talks to me. And one of the things I just remembered when James read this, that one of the things I heard her say, I am you, you are me. And I thought, what? Where? So I guess it's a Buddhist thing, but I've never heard it before.
No, what a beautiful story to share. Thank you. Yeah, I love trees for sure. I think one of the best ways I've found to ground myself when I need grounding is go sit under a tree, hug a tree, stand barefoot in the grass, and just give thanks to all the nature spirits and all the trees and all the butterflies and all the animals around and Mother Earth for sure. Thanks for sharing that. Shall we go ahead, take a look at another passage? Let's take a look at a passage on awakenings. Quo here says, each of those awakening upon your planet at this time, and there are many, is awakening at a time when the aura of fear, terror, and discomfort has never been greater among your peoples. This was 23 years ago. Even under this barrage of fear and negativity, entities are awakening because of the service of those who are already awake, those who find ways to express the thoughts that encourage and cheer, hearten, and strengthen the light within those with whom they come in contact in one way or another. Each time that each of you smiles at the stranger who frowns at you, who offers a soft word in response to a harsh one, each gentle or loving act of friend to friend, as in the one known as Jay, who generously offers her bodywork to this instrument's most accepting vehicle, is making the world a more tuned and peaceful place in which to dwell. Yeah, I love the reminder that, yes, people are awakening. And I do seem to be noticing that more in recent times. It does seem like more and more people are awakening, having spiritual awakenings and awakening to oneness and seeing that there's more to the world than we think. And that, yeah, indeed, every little thing makes a difference. The smile at the stranger who frowns at you every time I choose a gentle word instead of a harsh one. It does make a difference. And that's a beautiful, encouraging, empowering thing. What do you think, Renat? Any thoughts on anything here?
Question. Well, it's an understanding, but also I'm not sure I understand it, that chaos and awakening are tightly linked. By chaos, I'm summarizing fear, terror, discomfort.
I think so.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, but yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, I would like to pose it to the to the other panelists. What is the link here? I think
Yeah.
we can dig deeper into what the link is.
What do you think, Andy? Any thoughts on that?
I think like chaos and like any kind of suffering and all that, it's catalyst. And for me, it wasn't until like life really pissed me off that I began to turn inward and decide that, right, I have no power over anything. The only thing I have power and control over is myself. And even that, it's like I don't actually have any control over myself.
I'm working on that.
Yeah. But I can learn how, maybe how to become stronger. And I think through that sort of 180-degree turn inward, I then began to sort of start looking within and looking at the aspects of the self that is resistant or fearful or angry because of what's happening externally. And it was only through doing that I found, I suppose, the ultimate peace and stillness, like Jesus said, like it's the peace that passes understanding, that and it's only that kind of true freedom arises, and you can
Hmm.
sort of see the stillness and the
Hmm.
truth that underlies all the chaos.
Hmm. Wow, beautiful way to look at it. Appreciate your sharing that. James, any thoughts on that or anything else?
Oh yes. Well, I very much appreciate your bringing in Jesus here because this for me is very much a message on Jesus, right? The peace
Mm.
that passes understanding, the perfect love that casts out all fear. And I'm also big on A Course in Miracles, and there are parts of A Course in Miracles channel material from Jesus where he does say that the opportunities to encounter fear and to still basically stay open to the love of God is an opportunity to demonstrate that fear is an illusion. And I think how that looks in my life, it's not at all not being phased by my fear. And it's acknowledging that the pains are there, that the blockages of the heart are there, and still moving forward. And I don't remember all off the top of my head, but Pantanjali, an ancient sage, he came up with the eight meannesses of the heart, and they include fear, shame, grief. They also include a lot of what we're seeing in today's society: of racial prejudice, condemnation, and yeah, several others. And particularly the meannesses I struggle with the most are shame, grief, and fear. And so for me to have the willingness to offer those up and to still have the willingness to find love in the moment is a work for me. And I think that as we're doing it, we are invoking the law of squares, right? So for every fear that we can give up in the name of the one infinite creator and in service to others, we're also
Yeah,
helping others, even with all this major fear that's around, to still step into the light.
for sure. Yeah, as you all were talking about your different perspectives on chaos and awakening, I was getting the visual of the caterpillar and the butterfly, as we have mentioned before. For folks who weren't aware of the biology of the life cycle of the butterfly, when the caterpillar goes into a chrysalis, its body liquefies. It literally dissolves into goo and then reforms to form the butterfly. So, in so many ways, yeah, the chaos that I see happening in the world right now, to me, reminds me very much of a caterpillar liquefying in order to birth into the butterfly, which in many ways is an awakening. So, I think so many of the transformations that each of us experience individually is kind of, as James is suggesting, part of that law of squares of the transformation that's happening to the whole planet, and it's a beautiful thing, for sure. Anybody else have any other thoughts on anything from this passage? It's good. Well, let's talk about something that we mentioned before, and that is unseen assistance. In this passage, Quo says, one cannot address your world situation, may we use a cliche, upon the level of the rescue of third density. Entities shall move into early fourth density no matter what happens to your sphere as the density changes, and they will repair the planet with the planet's cooperation. Indeed, many entities even now are repairing their little bit of the planetary surface by loving and talking to the Earth, by cooperating with what this instrument would call nature deities or devas, by relating to the surroundings of self with the understanding that all things are alive, all things work in rhythm and in harmony, and all things except those sunk in the mire of third density forgetting not only love each other, but know that they are one. In this atmosphere, the possibilities of becoming a powerful, magical person are great, and as the time sharpens the focused right unto the moment of birth of fourth density, there is in effect a fourth density energy that is now as real upon your sphere as the third density energy. It shows up within the physical world only by creating anomalous effects in terms of physics subatomic particles, but it shows up within the inner life of that wonderful multi-layered being that each of you is in a much more clear and obvious way as the interpenetrations of the two densities become such that it is much easier for nature or for the forces of coincidence to work in order to bring things to your attention which you have asked to be brought to your attention. That is why, in the midst of such challenging times, such times of transformation and change, yet still, each of you has had the feeling of entities helping along the way, unseen hands giving a boost, and angelic guidance coming through unexpected and unusual means. Yeah, really beautiful thing. And I really love the part up here in the first paragraph. Reminds me of how they've talked about indigo children are those entities who recently graduated to fourth density already, but rather than choosing to go forward in fourth density, they made the choice of coming back to third density to try to heal the karma of the planet. It really wasn't even so much to help with graduation. They came here really to help heal the planet because they love this earth and nature so much. That I think is a beautiful thing, and something I have definitely seen in many, many people, both older and younger generations. Oh, what do you think, Andy? Any thoughts, reflections on anything here?
Yeah, I think the deeper I get into the kind of internal silence, the more the easier it is to connect with everything, and and just like, and this powerful magical thing is in everything, and there's a sense of wonder, I think, that if we can remind ourselves of that every day, every moment, then it makes life so much more beautiful as well. I talk to my vegetables when I'm making a salad, and and I dropped a stick of celery the other day, and I was like, "Oh no, you fell down!" And my son came in. He's like, "Who are you talking to?" I'm like, "Talking to him. He fell down." He's like, "The celery? How do you know it's a him?" I'm like, "Duh, celeries are all him," you know. And then he's like, "Okay."
My
But
mom talks to celery. That's great.
yeah, I know. My kids think I'm really immature, but I think, yeah, it's just like in this really, really dark time, it just helps so much to even if we don't believe it, just fake it till you make it to get you through the day, I think.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I got nothing to add to that. James, any thoughts, reflections?
I love that aspect of everything being alive. It circles back around to talking to the earth to heal the earth, right? And as we talk to the earth, we are healing Gaia. We're healing nature, and I also like to talk to trees and receive lots of powerful messages in the process and healing, root chakra healing, heart chakra healing, and just merging. Um, Yesterday when I was on your call, Jonathan, though my I was moving about too much to actually to share at the moment, I was able to sit in a park for the meditation, and when I did, there was this. I knew it wasn't a blood sucking bug, so I was good with it. But there was this bug that was just constantly running on me, from
Hmm.
arm to leg, and when I opened my eyes, I saw that it was this beetle that was then wedged between my toes, like
Hmm.
alive, but just I guess going between my toes in a little crevice, and then as I was getting up, it just ran into the grass, and it was well.
Oh,
But
nice.
I feel that kind of communion, right? And I think the beetle was joining. The beetle was joining the earth prayers, and the energy felt good for it to be on me when I was doing it. So anyway, it's very
Nice.
it's very real stuff. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. The Gaia meditations are definitely part of my daily meditations in the morning and the afternoon. My meditations usually are focused on Mother Earth and healing and love and light and unconditional love and fourth density and all that good stuff. So, yeah, doing it outside is a bonus for sure. Or not, anything to add?
Yeah, that's in the middle there for density energy that is now is real upon your sphere as the third density energy. I think to me that's those moments that we are connected, either through meditation or just looking at the sky and seeing a beautiful well connected to nature, but especially the sky, which is, that's like oh, I'm from there. I don't know where from, but that feels real. Those moments, I know I'm in the body. I have a human brain, very low density, but those moments of acting, as Andy said, they are those glimmers of fourth density, and they're so precious. Maybe
Yeah.
those glimmers, 1 second, half a minute, are just immensely powerful, I feel. And I talk to, well, obviously I talk to my lady tree, but I talk to my plants, and you should see them. They're so beautiful. They reply. And then I find myself talking to my teddy bear, and he doesn't reply. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're just a teddy bear. So yeah.
But that teddy bear has a life of its own, also, in its own way.
Oh, it was very helpful in the past. Yeah, and I talked to alley cats, and they seem to really understand English. They reply with meows and gestures. So much fun. I can talk to plants and animals all day. Who needs people? Other than you, of course. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't agree enough with that. Yeah, I would only add the part maybe about the angelic guidance coming through unexpected and unusual means. I have definitely made a practice of talking to my guardian angels. I believe in angels. I like the visual of guardian angels and angelic beings of light. But I call them spirit guides too, and I have made a habit of talking to them each day and thanking them for the guidance that they have given me already, and asking them again at the beginning of the day to help me do whatever the fuck it was I came to this incarnation to do, and to help me be of service to others. And yes, I have seen that help come through in many, many ways, obvious and oftentimes unseen as well. So, yeah, good lessons there. Anybody else? Anything to add before we look at another passage?
Question about service, right? Do you guys feel that you are providing or serving in the highest capacity possible in your incarnation?
I think so. I mean, in spite of what I just said of needing help doing whatever I came here to this incarnation to do, I think we all came here just to be here and just to channel the love and light of the one infinite creator as openly as we can through open hearts. That's the way I've always looked at it. What do you think, James? Any thoughts on that?
I think it goes back to the essence of being, and yes, I think so too, right? And I think we can ground with nature, and I do believe, the nature spirits, and just the second density animals, right? That they don't lie, like um, when they commune with us, that they are showing that they feel safe with our energy, right? And so I do think we're optimally serving wherever we're in our space that's most loving, and I think the purity of animals can sense that maybe in a way that some people, if their hearts are very blocked, can't sense. And I think that's why in the Wanderer's Handbook, Carla Rucker does say a sign of being a wanderer is having energy that's very calming to and inviting to animals.
Nice. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. What do you think, Renat? Anything to add?
Well, Andy said highest capacity, and I think the highest capacity is changing all the time. Right now, my I believe, I hope I'm at my highest capacity of service and of being able to radiate love and light. But 10 years ago, I was at my highest capacity for that time and going back. And hopefully, within 10 years, if I'm still on this planet, God knows, I'll be in an higher capacity. Capacity changes as we do work. Well,
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Renat.
Yeah, it reminds me there was a passage from Ra where Ra said wanderers generally have three functions of service, and one is just physically existing. Just physically existing as a third density being on Earth means that you are channeling light through your energy body, through every breath you take in and exhale, and Second function is the law of squares that James alluded to before, being one of many wanderers who came here to be light workers, basically, and channel light adds to that doubling effect for the planet. And the third one they said is just it's unique to each individual. Each individual brought specific gifts here to share, whether it's teaching or healing or channeling or artwork or just being a really, really nice person. That might be the special gifts that you bring. And again, I find that super empowering that you don't have to do anything other than just be here. Don't kill yourself. Don't commit suicide, as many wanderers, including me, I'm sure have done many times in previous incarnations. Just exist, just live and survive and be as loving as you can. Open your green ray as much as you can, I think is key. What do you think, Andy? Anything to add to that? Always appreciate your questions. It's a great question, as always.
Yeah. Well, I always feel I can do better, but then at
Sure.
the same time, I'm always too lazy to
Yeah.
do anything about it. But what I love
Yeah.
is Renat's answer that, you know, it is actually the highest capacity for the time and, you know, for the time you're at, whenever it is, I guess. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, appreciate your asking that. And I'm sure it's something that many people have wondered about. But I think as we all seem to be agreeing on, the best way to be of service is just to be yourself on the deepest level that you can. That's key. Let's take a look at a passage on cooperating with the light. Quo says here, the beau geste of each of you at this time is, among other things, to reclaim and recapture your own freedom of will at the level of spiritual endeavor, at the level of will, at the level of choosing to become personally involved in compassion towards entities of flesh and blood and bone. Move into active compassion. Focus upon the eyes within the photographs of the media rather than the details of horror and terror. Focus upon the process of souls learning, being transformed, and being lifted away into new lessons and new densities. Many are those who have already been cleared out of third density and into a fourth density environment. Many are those who are coming back at this time with an altered DNA possible with fourth density consciousness. The so-called indigo children and crystal children are those who have already been harvested and have begun their new life in a new density in which they begin as the equivalent of an indigenous species within the context of fourth density life. Each of you has perhaps an overweening opinion of the gadgets and the trickery of the present level of technological expertise of your peoples, and yet the next level of expertise flows with cooperation with the light rather than control of the light, and this in turn opens those abilities which create the impression that that which you think of as advanced technology is, in fact, the knife, the flint pounder, and the fish hook. Really appreciate this because I don't think artificial intelligence was really a thing back in 2003, but it is certainly an emerging thing now that I think anybody who's seen Terminator movies understands the concerns about having artificial intelligence in terms of our missile defense systems, in terms of all our computer systems, as apparently service to self entities in charge seem to have in mind. And I find it really easy to get caught up in fears and concerns about that. But I love what they're saying here at the end about, the real next level of expertise is learning how to cooperate with the light. And that's going to make artificial intelligence and everything else seem primitive, like flint pounders and fish hooks. Again, this is another one of my favorite passages of all time in this session, which is one of my sessions of all time. What do you think, James? Any thoughts, reflections on anything here?
Oh, I love this one. I was looking at also this quote that talks about the gadgetry earlier this morning. And yes, it's all primitive in comparison to the love and light of the one infinite creator. And I think what people are trying to do right now is really have control over the light as opposed to working with it alongside it as an equal, right? And I think the same is true with nature, that the relationship people have formed with the earth is also one of trying to have power over the earth as opposed to power with her. And the greatest power is with her. And so, and that's also a much greater technology than AI.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I know when we do our guide meditations, oftentimes we're just asking that God's will be done, whatever is for the highest good of all, rather than us trying to impose specific ideas over how and why, how things should be for the good of all. Oh, what do you think, Renat? Anything to add?
Yeah, the part that caught my attention is the first um, purple line, focus upon the eyes within the photography, like looking into, well, the media reflects our deepest fears and horrors, there's they don't tend to convey good news.
It is as if they want us to be in a perpetual state of fear. I'm pretty sure they do.
They want to sell, they want to sell, and what sells well is fear. Love, and peace and all that doesn't sell that well, because we have this brain. So in the last, I don't know, couple of years, I developed this semi-obsession of checking the news a few times a day, and not just one Israeli news channel, but all of them. And I just couldn't help it. I just, I knew that I should stop doing it. But on the other hand, I'm affected. If Trump says to Netanyahu, okay, bomb Iran, that's going to affect me tomorrow. So I just felt like, okay, if I can't let go of this obsession, what am I doing with it? And then I see the second part, focus upon the process of soul learning. And that's what that's the middle way I found. Like, okay, it's a story that is horrible and could affect me, but also let's try to look at it as a story, just a story, and see how it reflects the souls that are, part of this memory complex. I don't know, part of this, what does it mean? It's almost like an anthropological quest. And then I have all kinds of questions. Okay, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And and then AI is a great tool. So it becomes
Yeah.
this quest
Yeah.
that
It's a great way to strengthen your spirit. If you can really look at all of those events and still be able to spin it into something positive and to still be able to have your heart open and to be able to love them and forgive them, that's really powerful stuff, for sure. What do you think? Andy, anything to add?
What is technology for, actually? Like, and when they talk about technology, as opposed to our technology, like it seems to me that like a lot of modern technology is supposed to make life more convenient or
It was
take up
supposed to give us more leisure time. Unfortunately, that's not
um
really how it's worked out.
Yeah, but then what do we then do with the sort of leftover time that has resulted from the convenience then, and
Well, I think what people did not take into consideration was that the entities at the top of the economic food chain were just going to make us work harder. They weren't going to give us like more leisure time to contemplate the mysteries of the universe. They were just saying, "Oh, technology can help us do work faster, and then I guess we're just going to expect you to do more work and do it faster."
so when Poirot talks about technology, what's their what are they talking about and what does that technology do then?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't. Who the fuck knows what the technology of fourth and fifth and sixth density is? I can't even figure out a goddamn microwave oven. I'm not ready to tackle fifth density technology. But no, I definitely appreciate what you're thinking, and I think my approach to technology, like everything, literally everything, can be used for positive or negative purposes. I mean, the internet can be a terrible thing that's being used to spread misinformation, but we're using it to have Zoom sessions and to connect spiritual seekers from all over the planet together. So just depends what you make out of it, I think. I don't know, anybody else have any thoughts on any of that?
I am thinking about this other technology mentioned in the Law of One. That there was one part where I think Don asked, like, essentially, like, is every call answered by the Confederation? And Jonathan, don't they say something about there being some programming in the Earth, essentially, where there are these pre-recorded answers that even come from the Earth, like from the inner planes?
I believe so. Yeah, I don't remember the gist of it, but again, positive and negative. They have said that there are service to self entities who have some technology that's taking earth vibrations, which are usually positive and nurturing, and fucking them around to make people like in a constant state of anxiety and such. But there's also being used for positive purposes, I think, which is what I think you were referring to help
Mm-hmm.
folks who are just getting started. I think what they were saying was it's basically repeating loop to meditate. Because for people who can't get past that point, they just kind of like put it there to remind people just meditate. Is that what you were thinking of, or are you thinking of something different?
That is the one. Yeah, that is the one that now that you mentioned. Um,
Yeah, super funny.
speaking
Yeah.
of these earth deities, there have been times I've done these shamanic circles with San, and I've seen this kind of chthonic deity. A chthonic deity is said to be one of the earth spirits, and just this big gigantic spirit guy who he has a flower sprouting from his head. Sometimes carries me around in his right hand. Anyway,
Oh,
um,
what a beautiful visual.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a real thing that we do have all this, the technology that goes beyond, and that the natural technology is way greater than this synthetic technology.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I am reminded again of that last line in the third paragraph about the next level of expertise flows with cooperation with the light rather than control of the light. I think that is so much of what I try to do in meditations and what I think we talk about a lot in our study group sessions, which is, again, I think one of our main purposes, our main mission for being here is to lighten earth energies. And that means opening up our red ray and orange ray and yellow ray and all of our energy centers to allow as much of creator's love light to flow through us as possible. And to rather than trying to control it, we're really just trying to be open channels for it and let it flow through as undisturbed and as pure as possible to go out through our crown chakra into the planetary energies. And that's, I mean, you can spend lifetimes learning how to do that better for sure. Does anybody else have any other thoughts on anything from this passage before we look at another one? And I think we've only got a couple more to go. Well, let's take a look at a passage about how each is profoundly powerful. A little bit of green ray action there. Quote says, "We assure you, in the ways of spirit, each is profoundly powerful, and as each becomes aware of the dynamics and the strength of groups who are together turning their will to love, this power and this beau geste shall come clearer and clearer into the vision, so that it can be seen in ways that are difficult to describe, but very real. The vision is that the truth can never be hidden, that the light has never been extinguished by darkness, that all is well, and that there is the profound satisfaction and responsibility of knowing that the combined energy of groups such as yours, in coming together to affirm love, light, and unity, have already made a tremendous difference in the progress of this shift into fourth density. Those who have been actively involved in the lightening of the vibrations of planet Earth are perhaps 5% of the population, and yet much has been accomplished because of a few. And that few has begun to grow exponentially as more and more entities begin to wake up, and then, by their influence, begin to lighten the atmosphere around them to enable others the freedom from fear which it takes to begin to wake up. It is not for you to give up your free will, nor for us to intervene. Rather, it is for you, each of you, to move internally from the third density perspective to the fourth density perspective, gazing at the earth sphere of yours with a fourth density perspective." So beautiful. And again, this is why this is one of my top 5 favorite sessions of all time. It's really taking what appears to be a really dire outlook on Earth and saying that all is well. It's okay. There's a great awakening happening, like flowers blooming in the meadow. So many are awakening, and that's triggering others to awaken as well. It's a really beautiful thing that gives me hope and inspiration and encouragement when I feel like I could use some. I've reread this session many times. Renat, any thoughts on anything here?
Yeah, I think the purple highlight in the second paragraph actually pertains to our viewers. Probably
For
a
sure.
lot of them are here watching us because they are seeking community. Maybe they have nobody to talk to talk with about those crazy things. And here, they
Yeah, I appreciate your sharing that. And I totally agree. When you express who you are openly, honestly, on the deepest level, it, seen or unseen, encourages, empowers others to do likewise. And then it becomes this exponential increase. It's a beautiful thing.
It's just so beautifully put, and I think it's just but it does take work. I feel like there's a lot of people on earth who would give up love in order to get admiration, and and love is just freely offered to all things and all beings, and we don't have to earn it. And yet there's so many people who feel like they have to earn, they reject the love because they would rather expend their energy trying to do things to earn admiration.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can just embrace, and I guess I don't know, maybe it does take shadow work and
Mm,
to accept the deepest, darkest parts of ourselves first.
for sure.
And to, like Ra says, like know yourself, accept yourself, become the creator. And for years I'm just like, yeah, it's easy for you to say, Ra, fuck off. Like, you're nice. I'm an asshole. I can't accept myself. But then actually I've gradually learned to do that. And it's like I've and I think by doing that, you know, th- my family and friends also feel that they're free to be imperfect as well. And that just liberates us to have more fun in life.
For sure. Yeah, it has taken me a long, long time, but I am slowly learning to accept that you are creator as well, Andy. I have to remind myself of that from time to time, but yeah, it's a good thing. What do you think, James? Anything to add?
Oh yes, well, you can never go wrong with self-acceptance, right? I mean, it's the self-acceptance that opens up the avenue for loving others, and um, and I love what they're saying here about how powerful the few of 5% are.
Yeah.
Um, it really reminds me of what Ross says in the law of one when they do say that the system is really working in our favor, right? It's like because the majority of people on Earth are unpolarized, and because there are perhaps like the 1% negative. Those of us who are positively calling, our numbers account for much more to make up for the fact that even though we're less, we're more, and also just because we're actually tapping into the depths of love, which does equate to more.
Yeah.
That there's this part of the law of one where Don, I think he's essentially thinking that perhaps the law of squares would work in such a way where 10 would be 100, and Ra actually says, no, actually, 10 are 1,012.
Right.
And
Right.
it's a really powerful thing. It also ties in with the Maharishi effect that, which transcendental
Right.
meditators have found. They found that if
Right.
they meditate, 1% of the population meditates, even in a big city, they can have up to a 16% reduction in violence and accidents for that whole year. And
Yeah.
so, we really do have the strength in numbers.
Yeah, and like everything, it takes a certain leap of faith to accept that. You're never going to find like hardcore scientific evidence to prove the Maharishi effect or the law of squares. Is something that you kind of have to take on faith, I think. I think that's part of the design of third density. But I definitely believe and agree with everything that you said. And it's why I find this session and this passage so empowering. It's so easy to feel powerless. I think it's fair to say that's why the service to self entities in charge of our political, economic power structures run things the way they do. They know that people who are afraid are easier to control, and that people who, if they can keep us in a perpetual state of fear, then we won't discover the power that each of us has individually to change the world, and that the power of love and doing the shadow work that Andy referred to has the power to change the world. They definitely don't want people to know that. They definitely don't want people to tap into that. So we're just a bunch of four crazy radicals here in this podcast, let me tell you. Anybody else have any other thoughts wanted to share before we look at our last passage? Well, let's look at a few closing words on swimming in the waters of unconditional love. Quo says, we assure you that all is well with your people. The harvest has grown substantially, and we are most pleased to see the situation as it is. From our standpoint, things look very good. The vibratory energy of your planet begins to lift. Much has been accomplished. Much has begun of goodness and substance. It remains for those of you awake to be aware of this time and its possibilities, to follow through day upon day and act upon act, year upon year, and thought upon thought, decade upon decade, and realization upon realization. That is the real heart of the job, the mission. The service is in the being, and in the being lies the tuning that will bring the earth and its peoples to health within early fourth density. This is early fourth density. You vibrate now in fourth density. Certainly your third density vehicles are having their challenges in accommodating the new vibrations, and yet the body is the creature of the mind. And as your consciousness begins to feel comfortable swimming in the waters of unconditional love, so the body shall find themselves more and more able to enjoy fourth density vibration. This is another one of my top 5 favorite passages of all time. And again, why this is one of my favorite sessions of all time. Just the visual of this consciousness swimming in the waters of unconditional love is beautiful. It does remind me, I mean, so many people I hear about complain or express feelings of frustration of being tired and exhausted all the time. And this passage is the one that I think of. Because if you're relying on third density vibrations for your life energy, yeah, that's not going to work because they're all gone. We're in fourth density now. So kind of like Charles Darwin, as a former biology teacher, I'm reminded that Charles Darwin said that survival of the fittest, as it as said as part of evolution and natural selection. Survival of the fittest isn't about those who are strongest, those who are smartest, those who are fastest. It's about those who are best able to adapt to changes. So if you feel like you're having a hard time physically dealing with survival, then I would say, yeah, think about unconditional love. That's really the key to adapting, to let your mind and your body get comfortable of seeing things and thinking of everything in terms of unconditional love and loving everyone, even the ones who are hardest to love. That's for sure. What do you think, Andy? Any thoughts, reflections on anything here?
Just do it. Just do it. You know, like
Yeah. Or
be.
just be it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just I don't know. It's like at the end of the day, we can intellectualize and we can talk and we can read. And ultimately, I think that the question comes down to, is this bringing me more peace? Is this making me more accepting? How's this helping me in my relationships? It just comes down to the most simple, basic things. And any kind of magic or any kind of like high intellectual posturing or whatever, if none of that brings peace and love and a sense of wholeness and acceptance, then it's useless.
Well said. Yeah, I got nothing to add to that. James, any thoughts, reflections to add?
Well, to second that, Andy, I very much like that, and that really ties into the law of one, right? The law of one is the balance of love and wisdom, and by being now in the way of one, we're going towards the way of foreverness, and really to forever emanate that love to all, right? And that's really what we're here to do. I'm grateful to share this path with others. And the importance of togetherness is the big thing here, right? Service is being, and for me, it's being with other wanderers because if I only pursue the wisdom myself, then I get very burned out and tired, and then I do start to get to a point of what's the point? And if I navigate the wisdom with love, like we're doing right now, then it all ties into such a way where I really receive the healing energy of the fourth density energies that are so radiantly emanating right now. And in the same way I can connect to it in trees, I can connect to it in my fellow wanderer team right here. And I'm grateful to be a part of this community.
Yeah, grateful for you to be a part of it. I have been a solitary seeker for most of my life up until a few years ago. But yeah, I really do appreciate having kindred spirits and souls that I can have these conversations with. And as Ra famously said, those of like mind who seek together shall far more surely find. And I have found that to be true. Renat, anything to add?
Um, yeah, two small points. One is just to continue what Andy said, is that in Buddhism, what I have learned is that it is said that the intellectuals will be the last to be enlightened, which to me means that you can't think your way into enlightenment. You have to use your soul, your heart, your non-material, because our brains are, amazing, but also have their limitations. And the other thing is at the very start, they say they're very encouraged about the progress we've done with, reaching or advancing towards harvest. And that was 23 years ago. So I wonder where we're at now.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering. I wonder if they would change their opinion on that after
Are we
the
a little
last
closer
few
or
years.
did we go back? What happened? I want an update.
As they have said many times, the more negative the catalyst, the more positive the polarization is that can come from it. So I have found great comfort and inspiration in believing that to be true, for sure. COVID would be a great example. I mean, that is, I think most people would agree, a seemingly very negative catalyst. And yet, so many people, like myself, have said that they discovered the law of one during COVID. So I think that is good scientific evidence that negative catalysts can produce very positive polarizations. Really love this conversation. I'm sorry that we are coming to the close of it. Does anybody have any final thoughts, reflections on this passage before we start wrapping things up?
Well, I was thinking it would be cool to maybe just dedicate the merit and virtue. This has been such a beautiful, heart centered um, meeting, and just I see why this is in your top five favorites easily. So there's actually this little song that I learned at Naropa University in Boulder. It's a loving kindness thing, and it's very easy to remember. So I would actually like to invite whoever wants to join with it and just emanate some love. It really just goes, may all beings be well, may all beings be happy. Peace, peace, peace. So whoever wants to say it with me two more times, feel free. May all
Oh,
beings
be
be
well.
well. May
May
all
all
beings be
beings be happy.
happy. Peace,
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 peace. May
may
all
all
beings
beings
be
be
well.
well.
May
May
all
all
beings be
beings be happy.
happy. Peace,
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 peace.
peace. Beautiful. That is the first time any panelist has sung on this podcast, and it was well worth the wait. Yeah, what a beautiful song of love that they referred to
He's a
before.
great singer. You should actually invite him to sing more
Yeah.
often.
Well, thank
Oh,
you for sharing that. And we do hereby dedicate this session to the One Infinite Creator, to Mother Earth, and to Fourth Density. Thank you all for being part of it. So where do we go from here? What are some takeaway lessons we can have from our hour and a half plus conversation today? I've got 6 for your consideration. If you can remember one, that everyone has everything they need for themselves and for the planet, and there is no need for rescue. That'd be pretty good. If you can remember that pre-incarnated you and higher self you left Easter eggs for you to find, jewels under the soil of subconscious waiting for you to discover, that would be awesome. If you can remember to keep tuning yourself to find the unconditional love, the universal love, the one infinite creator that is within you, that would be great. If you can remember that all are in fact awakening and helping others awaken, that's a great thing. That's a great quickening that's happening. And remember to learn to cooperate with the light rather than trying to control it. Just let the light flow through you and bless it and pass it on. And lastly, let your consciousness swim in the waters of unconditional love. One of my all-time favorite passages and visuals. James, do you have any takeaway lessons you'd like to add?
The power of love. It's just it's really just what I'm here for, and I'm grateful to be on this path. Green has been my favorite color ever since I've been a child, and now merging the green with the blue and the indigo and violet, right? It's just the green blue indigo combination is very much what I'm feeling right now, and just I feel it reverberating, feel it in my energy surging through my hands, and just continuing to dedicate the service to all souls, especially those seeking, especially those who are joining our ranks in terms of service to others, and passing down the love over fear, the perfect love that casts out fear, that others may also sufficiently
Beautiful.
awaken past the fear to get the love.
Beautiful. Well said. I didn't know anything about chakras before discovering the Law of One 6 years ago, but I agree. It's been one of the most powerful, important, valuable spiritual teachings I've discovered. Renat, any takeaway lessons, final thoughts you'd like to add?
I'll show you my greenery. Starts here. It goes. Wait. It's hard to do.
We're taking a field trip to Israel, people. Enjoy this.
Now just my just yeah, there you go. I hope you were able
Got a
to
little
see
bit of green there. It's nice.
Yeah, there's a I don't know how to do the technology. Damn it. Yeah, it's just encourage the viewers to keep opening the heart and whatever it takes, become happier. You are part of the solution.
Yeah. And you have as much powerful as the President of the United States or the richest person in the world. You have probably more power than them. They're who you are. Thank you for sharing that. Andy, anything you'd like to add?
Just thank you everyone for being here, for existing, and it's all a fun ride. And I've been sort of studying this since 2019, and I still don't know if any of it's true, but whatever gets me through this incarnation, I don't really care. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Well said. Thank you so much for sharing that. Panelists, as always, it's been a joy. Could do this for another 2 hours if we wanted to, but do want to wrap things up. Did want to encourage our viewers that if you encourage this podcast episode, you might also encourage our episode on the mission, hero's journey, angels and archangels, light workers, awakenings, and Best Party in Town. All great episodes where we looked at things more in depth that we kind of touched on today. And Best Party in Town is the other podcast episode we've done where all the passages just came from one session. That is another one of my top 5 favorite sessions of all time. I encourage you to check it out. Otherwise, time for a pop quiz. Pop quiz, of course, is something we like to do at the end of our podcast, just to end our otherwise serious conversations on a lighter note and maybe look for loved one connections in pop culture. Since today's episode was about intervention, seems appropriate that we would have a pop quiz on rescue movies or movies that involve somebody being rescued or trying to rescue someone else. Panelists, any movies come to mind as far as movies that involve somebody being rescued or trying to rescue someone else?
So many.
There are a lot. Yeah. Any come to mind?
Oh, what's the one with Tom Hanks on that island?
Oh,
Where he has a
Castaway.
football. Yeah.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Um,
And he was in Apollo 13, which was
yes.
also a rescue movie in a sense. Yeah.
And Terminal, wouldn't Terminal with Tom Hanks be a rescue movie?
Oh,
Could be,
I love that.
in a way. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, there are a lot of movies that have been made that could be described as rescue movies. And today I'm going to ask you 4 questions about 4 of those movies. See how many you can answer correctly. As always, it doesn't matter if you've seen the movies. It doesn't matter whether you get the answer correct or not. We're just here to have some fun. Panelists, go ahead, say your answers out loud so our viewers can hear you through space-time. You who are watching this on video at some point in the near or perhaps distant future, say your answers out loud so we can hear you through time-space. Let's see how we do. First question is one that was not mentioned, and that is The Martian. Martian, of course, starring Matt Damon as an astronaut who gets left behind and stranded on Mars and has to figure out a way to survive until NASA can come rescue him. Question is, who directed The Martian, and which of the following did they also direct? Was it A, Blade Runner, B, Gladiator, C, Alien, or D, Thelma and Louise? What do you think, panelists? Any guesses?
I'm guessing Alien. I don't know for sure.
Nice.
I love this film.
Thelma and Louise. Doesn't make sense because it's a different one. Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, great movie.
Oh.
Andy?
I'm guessing Gladiator because it's like in terms of time, it's probably the closest.
Nice. You're all correct. The correct answer is Ridley Scott, and he directed all of those movies, all of which are really great movies. I mean, Blade Runner is considered one of the best science fiction movies of all time. Gladiator is just a great fucking movie. Alien, Thelma and Louise, also great movies. Ridley Scott is a great director. If you haven't seen it yet, The Martian is really a great movie. It's a great ensemble cast working together in a really great story of rescue for sure. The greatest rescuers, I think the heroes of this, of course, were the Chinese people who provided the rocket after the U.S. blew up the one that they were going to use instead because they rushed the safety protocols, blew up the thing on launch, and the Chinese graciously volunteered to offer their rocket. They had nothing to gain from this themselves. It was truly an act of service to others. And I don't know who the fuck the actors were that played them, but it was great. It's a great cast. There's a lot of great actors in there. How about your second question? Jamie Foxx, who starred in Django Unchained, also starred in which of the following? Django Unchained being another Quentin Tarantino revenge fantasy about a freed slave who goes back and tries to rescue his wife, who is still held in slavery. Jamie Foxx also starred in which of the following? Was it A, Any Given Sunday, B, Just Mercy, C, Soul, or D, Ray? What do you think, panelists?
Just Mercy.
Great movie. Great guess. Anyone else?
I saw that movie.
Oh, I saw it too. Yeah. I have not seen all of the movies on this list, but I did see Just Mercy. And it was great. Anyone
I'm
else?
going to go for Soul because I love that film so much. But I don't know. I'm just thinking,
It's a
like,
great
hang
film.
on. I don't recognize his voice in any of the characters, but
What do you think, Renat?
I'll go for Ray just for the heck of it. I don't know any of these.
Nice.
That's all I have seen so.
As with the previous question, you're all correct. It was all of the above. Great comedian, great actor who was great in all four of those movies for sure. Ray being him playing Ray Charles, which is pretty hard to pull off, but he pulled it off pretty convincingly. But yeah, I asked this question mainly so that we could talk about Soul. Soul really was a great movie. Highly recommend it, where he played the protagonist, a middle school band teacher who also happens to be a very accomplished jazz musician who gets to get a gig with a really famous jazz artist only to die by accident. And so the movie features a lot of great scenes about life in between life and about souls who want to incarnate, but only a few are given the opportunity. And there's a whole steps of light in there as well. Do you remember much from it, Andy?
yeah, I can really relate to the little one who didn't want to incarnate.
Right,
I'm just like,
right,
that's me. Like,
right, right.
yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah,
funny because like, yeah, I didn't really think that the voice of the main character sounded like Jamie Foxx. But maybe
I
it's
wouldn't have guessed. I wouldn't have
no.
picked it out either, but he was, yeah, indeed, and did a really great job. About a person who discovers the beauty of the present moment and enjoying each moment of incarnated life. If you're looking for a good, positive law of one movie, this is definitely one of the best. James Renat,
I
have you
think
seen this? Anything to share on it?
I haven't, but I'm going to now. I have Disney Plus, and I'm putting it on my watch list.
yeah.
Highly recommend it. I would think you would enjoy it a lot. Andy?
I think the best thing about the film is like what it says about playing it safe,
Oh,
because
interesting.
like, his character is kind of really cautious and always wanted to play it safe.
Yeah.
And well, I don't want to give anything away, but you kind of like as the film sort of the story unfolds, you kind of see the beauty of being willing to surrender.
Yeah, it's so beautifully exemplified by the other character that you mentioned, who I think was voiced by Tina Fey, a character who all of the spirit guides had given up on because she was just seemingly unredeemable and she didn't want to go back to Earth because she was afraid of all the failures and all the negative things that she was going to experience, but who eventually, through the Jamie Foxx's character, gets the courage to take that leap again. And fuck, I'm going to start getting weepy if I talk about this anymore. It's a beautiful film. Highly encourage it. Unlike the next movie, which is not particularly beautiful, and I doubt anybody here has seen or heard of. But here's your question. Rachel McAdams, who starred in Send Help, also appeared in which time travel classic? Was it A, Time After Time, B, The Time Traveler's Wife, C, About Time, or D, Somewhere in Time? What do you think, panelists? Am I guessing correctly that none of you have seen this movie?
Mm.
It's fairly recent. It came out this year or about within the past year. And she plays a woman who's like Rachel McAdams, very smart, very capable, but who keeps getting passed over by the piece of shit nepo baby boss that she has. And they get stranded on a desert island, and because she's a enthusiast of survival TV reality shows, she actually does pretty well. And because the boss was like very badly wounded, the tables are flipped basically, and he is depending on her to keep him alive, and she is learning how to enjoy the power that she has in this situation in a I don't know, mixed polarity kind of way, I guess you could say. But that's not what this question is about. This question is about which time travel movie or movies has she been in. What do you think, panelists?
I
Time
haven't
Traveler's
seen.
Wife. Sorry, James.
Go ahead.
I think B.
I saw B. I don't remember her. The woman there had a rounder face.
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
I
Nice.
think
Not a
so.
lot of people saw Time Traveler's Wife. What do you think, James?
I'm guessing about time.
Nice. Nice. You are all correct. She was indeed in The Time Traveler's Wife, and she was indeed in About Time. In both cases, as is typical, she played the physically attractive and intelligent person who was basically the love interest for the male figure in the movie. So that's why Sam Raimi, who directed this movie, wanted her to star in this movie, because he saw that she had potential that wasn't being tapped. And so this is one of the few movies that she really stars in and is not the love interest for some other male character. So, yeah, well said. Well guessed. How about your last question? Albert Brooks, who voiced Nemo's dad in Finding Nemo, also starred in which of the following? Finding Nemo, of course, the story of a overprotected father clownfish who has to try to rescue his son, who has been taken and kept in the aquarium of some fucking dentist in Sydney, Australia, I think. The question is, which other movie did Albert Brooks star in? Was it A, Broadcast News, B, Defending Your Life, C, Looking for Comedy in the Muslim World, or D, The Little Prince?
All of them. You've tricked us so many times now, Jonathan. I'm just gonna go with all of them.
Yeah,
Good
all
guess.
of us are gonna go for all of them.
As well you should, because god damn it, I keep tossing you like softballs and you keep swinging and missing them. You did get it on this one. He did in fact star in all four of those movies, but the real reason I asked this question, aside from Finding Nemo being a great movie that I highly recommend, he was in a movie called Defending Your Life. He starred in with Meryl Streep. Have any of you seen this movie?
I haven't.
Yeah, it's so old.
It is an old movie. It must have been in. I did not write it into my notes, but it must have been like in the 90s or something. But really great movie. Highly recommend. Look for it on YouTube. You could watch it for $3 or $4, I'm sure. But he plays a guy who dies, and he goes to what they call Judgment City, which is very much about what's described as the inner planes life between incarnations. And he has to go before a judge to determine whether he's worthy of going on or has to go back to repeat his third density incarnations. And because he's always lived a life based on fear, it's judged that he has to go back and redo it. And it's all about overcoming fears in order to move on in your spiritual evolution. But because it's Albert Brooks, it's done in a really funny way. They're like really hilarious moments. Cannot recommend enough, including the past lives pavilions where they go and he and Meryl Streep get to see who they were in their past lives and what they were. And this is the judge who's Rip Torn, who's a hilarious actor who's been in Men in Black and Dodgeball and who knows what. He plays his defense attorney, and the actress Lee Remick, I think, plays the prosecuting attorney who keeps playing moments of his most embarrassing moments in his physical life to show that, no, he's not ready to move on. It's a great movie. You guys haven't seen this, right? Panelists, none of you have seen this movie, have you?
Yeah, I've seen it like
Have seen it.
ages ago. Really, really
Oh.
long. I remember seeing about, was it spaghetti or food?
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
remember? Yeah.
I remember that.
Can't
Yes.
remember the details. Yeah.
Not going to spoil it for viewers, but it was another funny scene where he learns from Meryl Streep, who is a very highly evolved soul who loves life and lives life with lots of gusto and love and easily moves on to the next level. So again, for viewers who are looking for a positive movie with Law of One connections and lessons in it, yeah, cannot recommend this one highly enough. Panelists, as always, it's been a joy hanging out with you, and thank you for being here. Did you have any last thoughts, reflections, wanted to share with our viewers in the near or perhaps distant future before we say goodbye?
As Andy said, just do it.
Yeah. And thank you everyone. Thank you for being you and existing and all the variety in this kaleidoscope.
James, any
Enriching
last thoughts or
life.
reflections wanted to share?
Yes. Well, what's just coming to me right now is a quote from A Course in Miracles: "Fear binds the love, forgiveness sets it free." So just along the lines of just do it. Yeah, we can in this life move beyond the fear, and we can ascend to whatever stair of light we want to make it to. And yeah, may all the viewers, may all the viewers do the same.
So beautiful. According to YouTube analytics, there's only like maybe 20 or 30 people who are still watching this at this point. So if you are one of those 20, 30 people who are still watching at this point, thank you for being part of this spiritual community, and thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. To all our panelists, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. To all our friends at L&L Research, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. And to you especially who are still watching this on video, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. We are sending you our love light, and we are in fact receiving yours. Until next time, in the love and light of the one infinite creator, Adonai, Namaste. Say goodbye, panelists.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.